How to bond with a man sexually. Hello, my name is Greta Bereisaite. I'm dating and relationship coach for women. For the awesome high-value women secrets, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I upload new videos every Wednesday and Sunday. So today's topic is about how to sexually bond with a man, and we will discuss this topic with a very special guest, Mr. John Gray. John Gray is the author of the most well-known and trusted relationship book of all time, Men Are From Mars, Women From Venus. USA Today listed this book as one of the top 10 most influential books of the last quarter century. In hardcover, it was #1 best-selling book of 1990s. Dr. Gray has written over 20 books, and his most recent book is Beyond Mars and Venus: New Relationship Skills for Our Complex Modern World. His Mars and Venus book series has forever changed the way men and women view their relationships. John helps men and women better understand and respect their differences in both personal and professional relationships. His approach combines specific communication techniques with healthy nutritional choices that create the brain and body chemistry for lasting health, happiness, and romance. His many books, blogs, and free online workshops at marsvenus.com provide practical insights to improve relationships at all stages of life and love. He has appeared repeatedly on Oprah, as well as the Dr. Oz Show, Today, CBC, This Morning, Good Morning America, and others. He has been profiled in Times, Forbes, USA Today, and People. He was also the subject of a 3-hour special hosted by Barbara Walters. Hello, Mr. John Gray. What a pleasure to have you here on my channel. So about 12 years ago, I have read your book, Men Are From Mars, Women From Venus. And it changed my life at that time. It really, really did. It impacted me so much. First, I got really self-aware as a woman, because before that I wasn't, and I just nobody taught me this stuff, so I just didn't know much. And then I read your book. I think it's so important for self-awareness, because people can't really manipulate you that much, because you know what's the right thing to do. You just kind of stick with what feels right. And otherwise you can end up doing things that you shouldn't be doing, and thinking that it's like the right thing to do because the society is influencing you to go that direction, even though it's not the right thing to do as a woman. I hope I kind of made sense here.
Well, it wasn't concrete, but we'll have to make that concrete. But I would summarize what you're saying is we get the wrong messages today. They're not always so helpful. The world has changed. The world has changed. And maybe things that worked 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, they don't work now. We're a different society. Relationships are different. We want them to be different, and we have to learn new skills.
Yeah, that's true. And, sometimes when you just don't follow your instincts, it can have such long-term damages that you can have to fix somehow after, later on. And the other things that it kind of helped me with, obviously, with the differences between men and women, understanding the opposite sex a lot, and my relationship with my dad as well, because I had a very rocky relationship with my father. And once I read your book, I just everything just made sense, and this was the first step at fixing my relationship with my dad. So yeah, thank you so much for saving lives, basically making the relationships better,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, so the questions for you I have today is, a lot of my followers are having problems with bonding with men, you know, and girls usually like to talk, and when this is not what guys are that much into, or we end up messaging men for like long periods of time, and then we end up bonding to them, and guys just kind of disappear on them, and the girl is like, well, I feel like I bonded, but he's gone. And it's just, my question is, how do men and women bond? Is it different? Or if you could elaborate on that, that would be great.
Yeah, there's so many chapters in the story of men and women and in life. But when we focus on men and women bonding, sex is a very big bonding experience for women and not for men. If you have sex before a man has bonded with you, he'll like you less and disappear. That's very important.
Very true.
You know, there's a lot of pressure on women to be sexually available to men. It's old fashioned to want to wait and whatever. But the reality is, if you bond with a man before he bonds with you, and sex is a very bonding experience for women and not so much for men. And I'll explain that. When you have the hormone of bonding is estrogen. Estrogen says connection and oneness, and it's love and it's happiness. It's it gets generated when you feel safe. So you undress, generally speaking, when you feel safe. And that undressing is a metaphor for revealing how you feel and how you think, what you wish and what you want, what you believe, your authentic self. When you undress and reveal your authentic self, whether it be physical, emotional, or mental, and you feel safe, you will bond as a woman. Now, the problem is that if you bond physically before you're bonded to him mentally and emotionally, it's too fast. What occurs is if you slow it down, you know, the old thing about first base, second base, third base, home run, you know, dating, courting, you know, there was a wisdom to all of that. There's a lot of pressure now to say, oh, that's old fashioned, whatever. And so a man feels like I have failed if I don't succeed right away when it comes to sex. Then he loses interest. A man succeeds right away in having sex, he loses interest. So what's the solution? Well, at first we have to understand how women bond and men bond. Men start by feeling sexual attraction. If a woman feels safe with a man, generally speaking, she will feel, let's just look at the ideal setting. You feel safe with him. You feel you're free to express what you think. You don't have to agree on everything, but you're not trying to control each other. You're having harmonious conversation. Then you do some romantic dates where he provides for you. He opens the door for you. He plans a date. He drives you. He provides for you. Basically, he's your servant. And you appreciate how wonderful this guy is. He wants to take care of you. He wants to give to you. And you appreciate him. That appreciation you're giving to him allows him to bond emotionally with you. If you appreciate a man who hasn't done anything for you, he doesn't bond. Literally, he has to do something for you, and you have to respond to what he did. A lot of women feel a lot of appreciation for men, anticipating what he'll do. But he hasn't yet done it. So he doesn't yet bond with you. Literally carrying a box for you, opening a car door for you, planning a date for you, delivering something to you, giving you an idea that makes you feel like, oh, that's a good idea. That's helpful. Thank you. You have been supportive to me. When he actually does something, provides something, an idea, a response, a behavior, a gift, a time, and you truly appreciate it, he bonds with you. And when you truly appreciate, your estrogen's going up. When you appreciate, and that's bonding. When a man is appreciated for what he does, his testosterone goes up. Now, when that's a hormone, women have it, it's just not nearly as much as men. Men have 10 to 50 times more testosterone than a woman. But when she's making testosterone, she's not making estrogen. So she can't bond if she's doing things.
Is
And
there a way to get guys to invest into you if they don't want to? Like,
no,
no,
no. Well,
no.
well, if he doesn't want to, but that's a tricky thing. Let me give an example of desire and motivation.
Okay.
Bonnie, my wife, we got a little doggy. She wanted a little puppy, and she's really like in charge of this whole thing. I wasn't so into it, but hey, let's have a dog. So to get a dog, you have to bring it to the doctor, and you have to get shots, and then you get a little tag saying your dog is licensed where I live.
Yeah.
So the first 2 times she brought the dog to the vet, you have to go 3 times. And the first 2 times, she was very happy to bring the dog. And each time she complained when she came home, oh my God, our dog is so noisy, so protective. The traffic was so bad. It was an awful experience. So nobody wants to go to the vet. But the next time she does it again. And the third time she says to me, John, do you want to take the dog to the vet? I said, no, I don't want to do that. Why would anybody want to do that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
you just told me how bad it was. See, men are very literal when you talk about, do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? No, I don't want to do that. But then I said, and she says, I can't believe you. You're so selfish. I said, I'm not selfish. I'll take the dog to the vet. No, you said you didn't want to take the dog to the vet. I said, wait a second. I don't want to take the dog to the vet. But if my taking the dog to the vet is going to make you happy, then I'm happy to take the dog to the vet. And now I want to take the dog to the vet. No. You said you didn't want to do it. You see, women do things all the time that they don't want to do, and then they resent you. Men do things that they don't want to do. And if you appreciate them for it and makes your life better, we don't resent you. We're very different. If we get acknowledgement and appreciation for what we do, all of our woes go away. Yeah. And that's how you get a man to do things, is you say, I'm sure you probably don't want to do this, but it would really help me and make me happy, or I'd really enjoy it if you would do this. Would you do that? Not, do you want to do that? You should say, I know you don't want to do that. You're tired, you're going to bed, you're sleepy, but it would make me so happy if you would go to the store and get some milk for the kids in the morning. He says, no, I really want to go to sleep. She says, you must be so tired. He says, yeah. And he'll complain a little bit. I had to do this today and this today. He says, it's amazing. You do so much for us as a husband. Yeah. I know you're really tired, but it would be so nice if you would go to the store right now. I'd really appreciate it. You see, you have to gently persist on men to remind them that this job pays well. See, any man, you tell him, I'm going to pay you to do a job, and particularly when he needs the money, he's suddenly motivated and he wants to do it. You don't want to get up and work. Who wants to get up and work? But if there's a reward out there, then he goes, okay, I want to get up. I'll go. Okay. And we don't resent it. Women don't realize, because you resent it. Oh, if I tell you to do something you don't want to do, you don't forget it. You kind of, wait a second, why am I doing this? I do this and this. Now I'm expected to do this. Women are so full of complaints. Men aren't. Only men become full of complaints when their testosterone levels go down. And when life is easy for a man, his testosterone goes down. It's the old thing, don't be easy. Now, it doesn't mean play games with men. It's just don't give to a man more affection, more interest, more love, more support than he's giving you.
Yeah, mirror.
So what happens is when a woman has low self-esteem, it usually father issues. Her father wasn't there for her, and she felt unloved by her father. There's a part of it that feels like, I want to convince daddy to love me. So you become a people pleaser. And if you're a people pleaser woman, you can know you are. One symptom of it is to be sexually turned on to the man who is not available, to the man who doesn't have the ability to give you what you need, to the man who's dangerous, to the man who's already married.
Oh, wow.
You become turned on and sexually attracted to unavailable men. If you've had that experience, this is not all women, and nobody's the same, but if you have a pattern of wanting to have sex with a man who then disappears later, It's
Yeah.
because you're looking in the wrong place for love and you have a
Mm-hmm.
problem. The way
Mm-hmm.
you change that problem is simply recognizing, okay, I get turned on to the wrong guys.
Yeah.
So don't listen to my vagina. Listen to my mind.
Yeah.
Start
Yeah.
in the mind, have
Mm-hmm.
conversation, have a sense of interest, have a feeling of safety that I can express myself freely and fully
Mm-hmm.
without having to edit myself. See, before you undress physically, you should undress mentally and still feel loved.
Yeah,
That's a
that's
prerequisite.
correct. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then undress emotionally by expressing things that you would like and things that you want, and then reveal
Mm-hmm.
whatever's going on inside of you to a guy. And if he can still be turned on to you, that's quite the right guy for you. And you
Right.
won't know, you won't get turned on to that guy until he passes step 1, step 2, and then step 3. Now, his job as a guy is he starts at step 1. He does everything he can to get into you. He wants to have
Mm-hmm.
sex. Your job is to wait. He has to, it's so easy for him to see, there's like an energy, a magnetism towards you. And he feels it first and below the waist.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't get released, that's called ejaculation. If it doesn't get released, it starts to move up to his heart.
Oh, I see.
And it moves
Wow.
up to his heart through
Mm-hmm.
doing things for you.
I
And through
see.
conversation with you, it moves into his head. It needs, that energy has to move all the way up. And men today are so used to masturbating. Oh my God, they just want to they feel the sex desire, they have to have it right away. Sex
Mm-hmm.
desire, I have to have it right away. And these guys, unfortunately, they take them on a date, they want the sex, and there's nothing wrong with a guy who wants sex. Okay, sex,
Mm-hmm.
that's how men feel love. Okay, just like you want to figure out how to get men to bond with you and feel love, that's how men feel love. But then they
Mm-hmm.
ejaculate and it's all gone for
I see.
days. You
Mm-hmm.
see, you
That's
got to let it
crazy.
build up. You know,
Yeah.
there's studies on men that show that if a man ejaculates having sex on Saturday night and he doesn't ejaculate for 6 days, on the 7th day, his testosterone levels double.
Wow.
After ejaculation, men's testosterone levels drop. Therefore, he
Mm-hmm.
loses attraction for you. So
Mm-hmm.
at that time where he's lost his attraction to you, if he's already connected in his heart to you, that's the bonding, then he hasn't fully left you.
Yeah.
And then if he's already attracted in his mind to you, and he can't experience that unless you practice the things I mentioned in my book, Mars, Venus on a Date, and Beyond Mars and Venus. Those are the 2 most important books on what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
And of course,
Mm-hmm.
Men Are From Mars. And on that date, women will have a tendency to try to not talk too much, because like you said, women talk too much. Men say that all the time. But actually, women ask a lot of questions on dates because they're
Yeah.
afraid of talking too much. And so he ends up talking more because you're
Mm-hmm.
afraid of talking too much. And when
Yeah.
he talks more, he doesn't bond with you. Men only can
Mm-hmm.
bond through listening.
Oh, I
They also
see.
can bond by giving good advice if you really
Mm-hmm.
appreciate that advice. But you have
Yeah.
to really need to appreciate that advice. And what actually stimulates more testosterone and more connection between a man and a woman is just like, if a woman, you get naked, a guy gets excited. It's a woman undressing, revealing herself turns a man on. That means when you're authentic, it raises a man's testosterone, and that's how he bonds. When his testosterone goes
Mm-hmm.
higher in your presence than anybody else, now you're the one. So what women don't realize is, first, undressing in the mind means expressing exactly what you think and how you feel, but
Mm-hmm.
edit how you think and feel if you have an intention to change his point of view.
Uh-huh.
See, we are so primitive in our communication skills that whenever somebody has a different point of view, we want to change it.
Yeah.
And we get upset with somebody if they have a different point of view. You want to give him the experience that he has a point of view which is different from yours, great. Then you say, well, that makes sense, or I haven't understood that. Tell me more about that. Let him talk a little bit. Always acknowledge it as you must be right about, well, you're right about that, or that's really interesting, or that makes sense, or that's a good idea, or that's amazing, or, you're brilliant. And my experience and what I think is this and this and this and this, which could be the opposite. And you're not trying to change his point of view. He will try to change your point of view because he doesn't have my training. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a woman listening to me now. I'm not training men right now. What I train men to do, if men are listening, is you get a woman to talk and you don't try to change her point of view. Instead, you listen and you say, oh, well, tell me what you think is best. And when you hear that, how does that feel? And what does that feel like? And have you, pursue and explore what she thinks, but go deeper to what she feels and what she wishes and wants. That's penetrate into her. But women, you have to open up and let him penetrate into you. And you have to actually open up. And the way you feel safer to open up is first, you get him to talk a little bit, acknowledge him a little bit. Don't try to change his point of view. And what will happen is his testosterone starts to go up. Because see, whenever a man feels I have something of value, my life has meaning, I have purpose, I solve a problem, I'm smart, people think I'm good, any of that stuff bumps his testosterone up, feelings of success. Now, as his testosterone goes up, literally, you will start to feel safer because he becomes a better guy. Now, most people misunderstand testosterone, so I need to clarify that. If they haven't read this book, this is called Beyond.
Yes, I was going to ask you questions and I have it written down. Where do you find the most problems in the modern day relationships? That was my next question.
Well, we're talking about bonding. In this context of our conversation,
that's
it's
all
women
together.
who have sex too soon. It's women who communicate and people please, trying to change your point of view to be more desirable, not knowing that having a different point of view without changing a man, if it's different, is actually very exciting. You see, a woman's body is very exciting to a man. It's different. Okay, breasts, nipples, energy, vagina, completely different. The differences create an attraction, and literally he wants to go inside. But you have to feel safe before you want him to come inside, and you should not have sex with a man until you want him to come inside more than he wants to get inside. Okay, you need to be on an equal level with that. Never have sex to please a man. And then we take the other side of it, which is sometimes women feel huge sexual arousal when they don't even know a man. Okay, that's wrong. Okay, that means you're way out of balance. That means you're way out of balance. And, it happens, it's the extreme of that happens to a lot of women, even if they don't have big self-esteem issues, but it would be, you meet a celebrity and you suddenly want to have sex with them. Okay. This is like rock stars. These women in the, I don't care about relations. I just want to have sex with this guy, put another notch on my belt. This is all low self-esteem. Okay. It's imagining of fantasy, what it could be, a fantasy, because power is a big turn on biologically to women. Okay. And power in men is testosterone. A man feels powerful when he has confidence. Actually, it's not so. What does power mean? Power means I can do it. Okay. It's confidence. It's not anger. So we have to clarify that anger is actually low testosterone and high estrogen in a man. And we got it all backward. Everything we think we know is backwards. If we knew what was going on, things would all make sense and it would all be wonderful. It's backwards. Biologically, we know, scientifically, a man could have, he's facing danger, a threat. And of course, anytime you're in a social situation, if you don't have confidence, it's a threat. And so you're facing a challenge for a man, his testosterone levels will rise to try to solve the problem. At a certain point, he thinks, I can't solve the problem. He has insecurities. He has doubts. What happens at that point where he doesn't have confidence, his testosterone starts going down and his estrogen levels start going high, which causes the symptom is stress. Always when a man experiencing inner stress, his testosterone's going down, his estrogen's going higher, and he feels angry, defensive, irritable, grumpy, needy, passive. And what happens after a man has sex right away with you and you haven't bonded with him, he hasn't bonded with you, feeling successful in conversations and through physical intimacy, doing things for you. Then when he ejaculates, biologically, his estrogen levels shoot way up and his testosterone goes down 50%. 50%.
Wow.
The benefit of this is if he has succeeded in other areas of mental and emotional support, he's already bonded with you there. So he'll lose his sex drive for a little while with you, but he'll still feel connected in his heart. But if he has no connection in his heart, no connection in his mind, he has sex, it's over, he goes to sleep. Next day, he's actually looking for another woman. Now, that's biological. We know that when a man is bonded with a woman, when a man makes love to his wife, this is a woman he's bonded to, and he has sex and he ejaculates, the body also, in his body, produces prolactin. Prolactin is a hormone that in women, it causes milk to drop for breastfeeding, but in men, it causes them to, it inhibits the desire for a new woman.
I see.
We're designed as men to search out every woman possible and find one that will accept us. Our instinctive desire, instinctive is, opportunity, let me go make a baby. Opportunity, let me go make a baby. Then nature puts into women another hormone that says, I'm not going to have sex with just anybody. They have to pass certain tests because I need someone to care for me when I'm raising this child. If this is all old fashioned, but our biology is all
That's amazing. That's amazing. I love it. I'm all for old fashioned.
It's old fashioned is great. And at the same time, we live in this world where women are more independent, making money. And as soon as you're independent, making money, your testosterone levels as a woman will be higher. So you have a greater need for relationship skills that will bring you back to your female side. You have a greater need for that. And historically, that's why women today really appreciate a man who could be as a good listener. Why women appreciate a romantic guy, a man who knows how to do foreplay, a man who knows how to be affectionate, a man who can give compliments. All those things suddenly have more weight and are more important, and men don't know how to give them. You have to educate a man. And the good news is men can be educated if you approach them in the right way.
Yeah, this is where we have a problem, because a lot of women who are really goal focused, we end up goal focusing on a man as well and actually pursuing men same as, this is like why the self-awareness is so important, and understanding these differences and being in touch with your femininity.
This is what you were talking about in the beginning, how we tend to, women are taught, go after the man. And that was a good reaction, in a sense, a logical reaction to an old-fashioned idea, which is never pursue a man. You should always just wait for the man to pick you and look beautiful and be loving and all these nice things. Because see, that's feminine, but masculine is pursuing. Now, what we want is a balance of the two. So balance of the two is not being a people pleaser, but also putting yourself in situations where you let a man know that if he pursues you, you would be open to it. You're interested in it. See, that's the whole dance. The dance is, it's almost like in some movies that a woman will be, for the date is ending. And, guys today, they're more on their female side. So they're afraid to be aggressive. Some guys, these sensitive guys, they're too shy, so he wants to kiss you. He wants to fuck you. Okay. But he feels guilty about it, because we live in a society that, I see a hot woman, I want to fuck her. Oh, that's bad. I'm a selfish animal, as opposed to, that's what every man feels. Okay. We don't talk about that because women shame men for wanting to have sex, but as opposed to being complimented by it, but not obligated to it. See, it's a great thing that he, it's a man's desire for sex is kind of like a woman goes to a museum and says, "Isn't that art beautiful?" Or you go to my garden and say, "Oh my gosh, the beautiful flowers. I was just looking at these beautiful flowers in my garden today."
Yeah.
That's my female side appreciating nature. Well, men appreciate women, the woman's body, and women do too. I mean, it's beautiful. It just has a flow to it, and it has an energy of receptivity if she's a happy woman. Your happiness is what makes you most attractive to a man. Also, you won't be fully happy unless you're authentic. It's happiness and authentic feeling safe. You literally produce pheromones, a smell that your body puts out, which a man has a little nose inside of the nose. There are two flaps up here. And their job is to detect pheromones, a woman with high estrogen. Because when a woman's estrogen goes up, a man's testosterone goes up and says, I have a job to do. Because, again, we're looking at the million-year-old body here of evolution, which main job of our body is to procreate, survive. That part of us is that when a woman, if we're monkeys, and we have this monkey, most of our brain is like a monkey. It is monkey DNA. When it comes to the monkey, the woman can only make babies when she ovulates. So it's at that time when she ovulates, her estrogen levels become, they double. So when a woman's estrogen levels double, it sends a message to the male to pursue the female to make the babies. If the woman's estrogen levels are low, the male has no interest in pursuing you. And now we're not monkeys, so if you just undress in front of a man the first time, he thinks, oh, she's, ovulating. She wants to, because she wants to have sex. But actually, she may not be ovulating and she may not want sex. She may be trying to please him. And then he will become disinterested in her, because if you're trying to please a man, your testosterone's going up. Your testosterone, that's your male side. You're not on your female side. And then there's the art of learning how to have an orgasm if you're having sex. First of all, how to say no to sex without ruining a relationship. If a guy's dating you and he's got all these pressures to have sex right away, beyond his normal instinct of, boy, wouldn't it be great to have sex with you? And that's just a part of him. It's not all of him, but it's a part of him. But there's this huge pressure on society that says you're not a man if you don't score. You feel like Superman. I feel like, look, all the women want me. Your testosterone goes up. So when you're making out or you're kissing, and I mentioned it a minute ago with a shy guy, you go on a date, you're standing there saying goodnight. You want to, you just sort of come closer to give him the message that if he kisses you, that you look at him, hopefully you kind of looking up and you come closer. And if he doesn't respond, he doesn't know that you're saying you can kiss me. So everyone wants to kiss you. So you're like giving it out. So you have time, you go give him a kiss, but you go a little closer to give him that message. And if he still doesn't get it, then do you say to him, and if you want to kiss me, I'm here.
If a guy is shy,
there is, and then don't do anything more. See, there's a actual chemical exchange on the lips, which is very, very powerful. The saliva around this area, very, very key. There's an old-fashioned song, which, how do you know he loves you? It's in the kiss. Because if you kiss and that's all, he'll get a chance to feel his love for you. If you go all the way, he doesn't get a chance to feel his feelings. Okay, it all goes into this unconscious animal thing. It's like couples, they get a little uncomfortable because they can't deal with sharing all of them, so they just go and have sex and ignore everything. It's too intimate, actually, to be present with somebody, look in their eyes, have a conversation. We're running out of things to say. Let's kiss, make out, have sex, go to sleep, as opposed to getting to know somebody. So sex becomes, this sort of avoidance thing, actually, from being present with somebody. So you start with a kiss, and what you have to know is that when a guy kisses you, then we go, and you as well, then you have time, your body has time to mobilize an attraction for him, which will increase if it's appropriate. If the DNA is not appropriate, it doesn't. I mean, this
Oh,
is math
wow.
computer. You know, when you eat food, it's all broken down into vitamins and
Oh,
amino acids, and it goes places and it does stuff. There's
yeah, that is so
intelligence that
true.
runs
Because
our body.
like sometimes you're kind of on a fence. You don't know, do you like the guy? You don't like the guy, and you kiss him, and you're like, oh, actually, we can
Yes,
continue
yes.
dating. Yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes it might be a day later. It takes
yeah. Mm,
time for your
yeah,
body to sort of organize, the DNA gets tested and so forth. And because see, your body wants to mate with somebody who's
mm-hmm.
different from you. Your
Oh,
soul wants to mate with somebody who's different from you psychologically, emotionally.
mm-hmm.
You know, we're drawn to people because for a variety of reasons. One is they have qualities that we, by loving that quality in them, we develop in ourselves. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
for example, I give you one, which is if you're in a relationship, one of the annoying things that men do that bothers women is fortunately explained in Men Are From Mars, which is men take their cave time. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he's dating you. He's always so interested to see you. And then you move in together and he comes home from work and he's not interested to see you. And you
Yeah.
go, what happened? Well, when he dated you, he was home alone a lot. That's his cave,
Mm-hmm.
completely in control of his life, not depending on anybody except himself. Then he gets to come and be with you, where he's now dependent on your appreciation and your approval and your acceptance. And that all makes him feel even better. But he has to have his personal life. Then you get together, you're all like upset. Why is he not so interested in me? He needs his cave time. That rebuilds his
Yeah.
testosterone. Distance makes the heart grow fonder, particularly for men. Sometimes for women, if it's too much closeness. But we need to have enough distance to desire each other. Desire is what you don't have. Okay. If I have you all the time, I can't desire you. I've got to
Yeah.
miss you.
Yeah. I need to
And
miss
these
you.
are all these,
Yeah.
but I don't want to miss you. I want to be with you all the time. No, you got to miss him. But see, women, estrogen, you need more estrogen. Estrogen goes up when you're depending on him for love and support. You're connecting.
Mm-hmm.
My estrogen goes up when I'm depending on my wife for her love and support. And the estrogen's good. As for men, it's estrogen, it's love. As long as I have success, as long as I have plenty of testosterone. See, estrogen without testosterone makes men grumpy, irritable, passive,
Yeah.
procrastinate, argumentative, defensive, just righteous. All the worst qualities of men happen when they don't take the time to make themselves happy without depending on you. And
Mm-hmm.
you, as a woman, get glommed on to needing him too much. And that's where your mind will go into criticism and complaining or feeling unhappy, which just pushes him further away. But you need estrogen at those times. And so what you have to recognize is he is a big source of estrogen because you're depending on him. When you need someone and you anticipate getting what you need, your estrogen goes up. Okay, so that's
Okay.
needing him, you
Right.
appreciating him, enjoying him. Oh, we're going to spend time together. This is so nice. It feels so good. All right, that's all estrogen, sweet, wonderful. Then he pulls away. What are you supposed to do? That
Mm-hmm.
means you're supposed to find your estrogen in other places.
Mm.
See,
Yeah.
it's like he's only one vitamin, vitamin D.
Yeah.
And if you have all vitamin A, B, C, D, E, F, all those vitamins, but you're missing vitamin D, that's a
Mm-hmm.
man.
Yeah.
Then suddenly you get a man, you go, oh, I feel
Yeah.
fantastic. Sunshine,
Yeah.
vitamin D is produced by the sun. So on that day, because
Mm-hmm.
you've got all your other vitamins and the sun comes out, you go like,
Yeah.
wow, sunshine is great. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
deficient in all those other vitamins,
Mm-hmm.
sunshine does
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
got to have a life. And most women will
Yeah.
have a life and then they get a guy and then they focus on him and then they're
Mm-hmm.
dissatisfied with him. And you've been ignoring all your friends. You've been ignoring all the little things that make you happy. It's been wrapped
Mm-hmm.
up in him. That's too needy.
Yeah.
So needing him is good, but too needy is when you're dissatisfied with him. And you need to focus on other things where you
Mm-hmm.
can have what you need. There's a
Mm-hmm.
feeling when you fall in love of I can have what I need. Okay, I have a man. Okay, I have love. Okay. And that feeling of I can have is the foundation of all happiness and love for everybody, for man too. It's just that's estrogen. I can have. Now, when he's not there, then your mind goes in, I can't have. And you're stressed out. I can have, I feel good. I can't have, I'm stressed out. At those times where you can't have him, you need to have 9 other areas of your life where you can have, and I can have, and you have to shift gears to what I can have, what I can have, and I can have. It's like people who don't have a lot of healthy food. They want to eat junk food. They go, well, I have to have this junk food. Well, that's because, if you take it away, there's no other options. You have to have other options. And other categories of needs have to be fulfilled. And that gives a woman called get a life. So you're not overly dependent on him. Think of men as dessert. They're not the main meal. When you make a man the main meal, you will always push him away. He needs to feel, I don't have to do a lot to make you happy. And that means your job is only to make you happier. You're this self-sufficient person. But you'll feel
that is so opposite of what women expect. A lot of women expect like him to be the source of all the happiness, and I don't have to do a lot to make it happen. It's really good.
Because it's your experience. If I have all my vitamins but I'm missing something, I'm missing not, and then the sun comes out and I get my vitamin D. This is a metaphor. I get my vitamin D. It's like, wow, this is it. My life is complete. I feel fantastic. My estrogen levels are soaring. I'm having an orgasm. Okay, so and of course you're going to think he should be the be and he's the everything. And but then you have to come back to your life. And literally, orgasm for a woman is when her estrogen levels double their normal healthy levels. They double. That also will happen generally speaking at ovulation time. If a woman is not stressed, it will naturally double. That's why her sex drive increases around the time when she can get pregnant. Then after ovulation, naturally, if she's not stressed, her estrogen levels will drop, 80 to 70%, no, 30 to 40%. And another hormone has to come up. It has to be higher than estrogen. Otherwise, she'll be stressed. And that's progesterone. Progesterone is stimulated when you don't feel pressured, but you're doing things that you enjoy doing. And they're not depending on others. You can enjoy being with others, but you're not depending on them so much. You're basically doing things you like to do. So a woman's life is kind of a balance from, I have to do things I like to do, and I have to do things where I depend on others to do for me. And I like doing this, but I depend on my partner for this and this and this. And then I have these things over here. I'm not dependent on him at all, but I'm a little dependent because you still always need your estrogen. But for 12 days after ovulation to your period, you need to be more independent from him than you are dependent. But on the other side of the cycle, particularly for 5 days before ovulation, you need to let yourself feel like my happiness is dependent on him. And that's when he is the sunshine and he's glorious and we have a romantic day and you have a great orgasm. And that's very important that you learn how to have orgasms to keep a man. If you fake an orgasm, you're going to lose a man. If you have sex and you don't want to have sex, you're not going to have a real orgasm. You'll have something, there is a natural tendency when a man climaxes inside of a woman, it is a surge of testosterone that might create kind of an orgasmic feeling, but you didn't really hit to your peak. And women who are used to masturbating also don't know how to orgasm. They say train yourself to orgasm by stimulating yourself with a vibrator. That is going to overstimulate that part of you where you can't depend on a man for it. You have to depend on yourself for it. So see, if you're giving yourself an orgasm, sometimes do it just to see what happens, but that becomes addictive for women. Particularly if you're doing it all the time, you're really addicted. And that means it desensitizes that area so that a man cannot provide for you. Not only that, but it actually is going in the wrong direction on something that's pleasurable. It is pleasurable to masturbate, but you're doing it for yourself rather than learning the feminine skill of letting someone do for you. So if you get to that place of 20 times more estrogen than a man, you're surrendering your mind, your heart, and then your body to somebody else for a short period of time to experience this very high level of estrogen, which will allow his testosterone levels to double and go to a super high level for him. And that's called great sex. You feel like he's making you, he turns you on, he's exciting you, he's taking you up. And what happens at a certain point where if women don't really know how to do full-blown orgasms, which would be orgasmic, then what that means, many orgasms, what will happen is she'll see that orgasm's possible and she'll grab it and she'll start focusing on her clitoris, and she's now focusing on trying to have that orgasm, and a tension builds up, and then she can have an orgasmic release of tension, which feels good, but it wasn't a female orgasm. It was a male orgasm. That's what male orgasms are, is a buildup of tension and then releasing. Whereas a female orgasm is a constant letting go, and wanting more and more and more, not doing it for yourself. So there's a distinction there. And if you can have that, that man will never go anywhere else. Okay? That's the greatest accomplishment and achievement for man biologically. His body will then afterwards produce prolactin, which inhibits his desire for other women. He comes back to you again and again and again.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So these are biological realities. Let's just look at statistically, where we have books where they've done big surveys. Half the women in the modern world have never had an orgasm. The other half who have had orgasms, half of them have never had the orgasm in the presence of a man. And then there's the others that have 1/4 has actually had an orgasm with their boyfriend or husband. But most of the time, it's just from a clitoral orgasm. You'll see this happens a lot with the gay couples. Women will do these clitoral orgasms, just touching the clitoris. Now, that's great. But the problem is that in ancient Taoism, which I'm a master of Taoism, which is one of the big aspects there is sex. And if you orgasm just on your clitoris, it overstimulates your kidneys, and over time, your kidneys become weakened and you gain water retention. So you see these women with big waists and big butts and big thighs. Quite often, quite often they're addicted to masturbation or having their partner masturbate their clitoris. And that what women need when they have orgasms is not just clitoral orgasm. They first need kissing orgasm. They need breathing orgasm. The whole idea of being aroused is don't even think about the other stuff too much. You can touch the body and kiss and whatever, but then as soon as you start noticing arousals taking place, your breathing changes. When your breathing changes, that means don't go any further. Let yourself just continue, not try to breathe, but let your bodies breathe together. So that's an automatic breath. That is orgasmic experience if you relax into it. Not a big orgasm, but it's a surrendering to allow. You see, when your breath is automatic, you're not doing it. What does that mean? You're surrendering. So you want to practice surrendering, just feeling the breath and making some sounds, how good it feels. Then the kissing, the mouth has to become very lubricated to where the woman begins to feel the urge to penetrate, and she should penetrate with her tongue into his mouth. Okay, that's a sign to now when your tongue wants to enter into him, that needs to happen long before you get to the clitoris. See, men just go kiss, touch the breast, go to the clitoris and give her an orgasm, and often he doesn't even hit the clitoris. He just has an ejaculation inside of you, and you go, oh, big surge of estrogen will happen, but nothing like it could be. See, this is energy. You're bringing in more life force energy into your body. Then breasts. Some women don't really like breast touching. Maybe they haven't been touched the right way, but often the femininity is so weakened that it doesn't feel good. She should circle her breast exercises every day and feel for lumps, any discomfort, gently massage, one direction, then the other direction. This is like really important so that your breasts are an erogenous zone. Any part of your body during sex which is ticklish is a sign that's blocked sexual energy. You need to massage those areas, okay, so that a whole body can be touched. You touch a child, they're ticklish, right?
Yeah.
We shouldn't be ticklish. If we're ticklish, we haven't got the sexual energy flowing to that part of the body. Under the arms is a very erogenous zone, behind the ears, the hair, touching the head. All these places need to be touched. Her whole body needs to be touched, starting north, generally speaking, then going south, then to the breast, the nipple erections. Sucking on the nipples is highly valuable for women to have orgasm. Why? Because sucking on the nipples, if it's it's my daughter's ring. Sucking on the nipples actually produces more physiological. If it's pleasurable, it's building up her oxytocin levels.
I see.
Oxytocin also is necessary for breastfeeding. It's all connected to the nipples. And the sucking in that area should be orgasmic for her. These are not orgasms that you're done afterwards. They're peaks of pleasure where you let yourself surrender into it. You enjoy it. And sucking on the nipples could be for quite a while until she feels lubricated down south. So, he's sucking on nipples, checking the thighs, touching the body, touching all around the bottom, coming around and checking at the vagina if it's lubricating. Okay. So many couples just want to add the lubrication and do it. This is like you're missing out on all these other erogenous zones, which prepare the way for clitoral stimulation. Clitoral stimulation then is an orgasm, but it needs to be a relaxed orgasm because there's more to come. Then there's the G-spot orgasm, which goes to another organ set. And then there's a deeper orgasm, which is about another inch further in. And then which goes to other organs in the body. And then the cervix will come down to touch the tip of the penis. And that's orgasmic. And as long as he's got a penis going, she's going to have orgasm. And they don't end until she feels completely done. And, that's what the French would call the small death, is you actually feel like you're dying because you're losing control completely. You're making noises, your body's moving all over the place. And even once a month like that would be very nourishing for the female energy, if not every time. You don't always have the time to do that, but you need a man who knows how to do that as well. And the way you train men, at least when if it's just going to be basic intercourse, at least let's go slow. Oh, this feels so good. So you always give men direction with a positive tone. Oh, this feels good. And if you want to correct something, his hand's going down south, you just move his hand back up to your breast or your neck and go, oh, it feels so good. Don't say, don't do that. Be positive, always positive.
Positive reinforcement.
So these are the few tips.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I know my clients will be asking me straight away, how long does it take to bond with a guy?
Our theme today is bonding. You see, there's the dynamic is how good is your self-esteem? Okay, so it's low self-esteem. You try to please a man, you pursue men. Changing from that place, you now don't pursue men at all, but you start by reorganizing the brain to stop going into this people-pleasing thing, because you can't control it once the pattern is there. You've grown neural connectors. It just happens. Neediness is a part of that, and dissatisfaction. What has to happen is you shift gears through intention, that I'm going to date guys who are interested in me that I'm not sexually turned on to. Remember, this is for the woman who has sex right away. So they're a little bit boring, these guys. They're maybe even shy. They're more on their female side. That's okay. Those are the guys you can control.
That's a good point.
That's a
Yeah.
very good point. Because if you
Yeah.
can control them, you feel safe. If
Yeah.
you feel safe, then your estrogen levels can start rising up to higher levels. And then that's where, in the beginning, you don't feel any attraction for them. So you feel, and maybe the wrong guy, but you're practicing on them. He'll have a good time,
Yeah.
doing things for you.
Yeah.
You're appreciating it. You're enjoying it. You're not having sex right away. It's the guys that you feel you want. You can't say no because you're trying to please them. You're adjusting who you are. You're adjusting what you think. My example of a people pleaser, I just want, you have to have examples so these things aren't so
Yeah. Yeah.
abstract.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I remember when I was in my late teens, and I'm with a group of kids and I want to impress them. It's, I want to be part of the group, right? And they
Yeah.
said, oh, we're having lunch at this restaurant, and they said, oh, John, did you see the movie, blah, blah, blah? And I said,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, what'd you think? Immediately, a deer in headlights. Oh my God, if I liked it, will they like me? If I didn't like it, will they not like me?
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
we don't have that experience where we feel, oh, I shouldn't give my point of view or express myself. You have to
Yeah.
express your authentic point of view with confidence.
Mm.
And let somebody disagree with you. And to win over people, let them disagree with you or not think good of what you just said, and say, well, let them express themselves. And then from your side, give them love. Okay, well, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Well, I don't agree with that at all. Of course, lied about it. We can agree to disagree, but I do see your logic there. But why would you think that? Tell me more. And so you're giving the disagreement a chance to give the message. We don't have to be the same to connect. And that's what sex is two people who are different who are becoming one. Okay. And so we're talking about intercourse and mental intercourse, conversational intercourse,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
different perspectives, different points of view. And that's what you can have the safety with somebody who's pursuing you more than you're pursuing them. And they're not pursuing you just based on wanting to have sex. Although every man wants to have sex. And every man will, this is the problem when women dress sexy. And I'm not saying you can't be however you want. But when you dress sexy, you're giving the message to all the men out there that you're willing to have sex. And you may not even know it. You're not thinking that. But when you show more skin than most people and show more of your body than most people, a man gets turned on to you, is more interested in you, get more attention. Now you got a long line of men who are really just interested in wanting to have sex with you and not interested in having a relationship with you. So put them to the test. Make sure they have to hear what you think and how you feel. And if they're still turned on to you, that's what you want as a guy. And you ask for questions, and you're not always so nice. You're authentic. You do your best to be nice, but you don't have to be perfect with them. That's the guy. And sex desire in men basically means we'll put up with anything if we can get in there, if we're the right person. If you just want sex and a woman doesn't put out, well, I'm not interested in you. Now, having said that, because there's so much pressure on men and you're going to go slow sexually, he might just give up because he feels inadequate in your presence. His testosterone goes down. He goes for some woman who's easy and never commits, of course, but he goes for what's easy. You have to give him the love he needs. This is about mutual give and take. And so what you say to him is when you're kissing or making out and he's touching, oh, that feels so good, but I have to go slow. He said, well, and he wants to have well, you don't want to have sex with me? Oh, no, I want to have sex with you. I just have to go slow. Well, then we should do it. Don't you feel it? I go, oh my gosh, I feel it. And then I know I need to go slow. Why? I don't know. I just know for me, it doesn't work. Well, why doesn't it work? It just doesn't work. Well, if you respected me, don't you trust me? I say, yeah, that's why I want to have sex with you. Just take it there. And I know it doesn't work for me. And he's, well, why? Well, it's just it brings up too much stuff inside of me. I start feeling needy or whatever, and I don't want to go to that place. And you're really an amazing guy, and I can't wait to have sex with you, but I have to go slow. Well, how long? How long? Wait, you don't want to put it on a calendar.
Exactly.
To know each other, and it just comes up, and I'll know when it's right. And you can always want more. That's okay with me. Of course, it's natural. I want to do it too, but I have to be the one because I know myself. I get too needy if I have sex right away, and you don't want to see that part of me. Look, of answers, but you just, in a friendly way, you never get in. You go,
You
yeah,
just keep,
boy, that
yeah.
would be really good. But your job is to lovingly close the door and let him open a little bit and a little bit more, a little bit
Yeah.
more, and let
Yeah.
him continue experiencing his desire for you. And also, I see a lot of couples where he'll say, well, at least you can get me off. Don't let him get off in your presence. Don't let him ejaculate in your presence. At least if he's going to do it at home, he does it at home, and it
Yeah.
doesn't get linked into you. You don't want to have a conditioned response where his testosterone goes down in your presence.
Yeah, that's so
That's a
true.
conditioned
Yeah.
response. And that's what happens when guys have sex without intimacy, without knowing who you are, without caring for you, without feeling successful except in a sexual way. Then sex energy goes down. There's a conditioned response that says, when I'm with you, my sex energy goes down. So now he thinks about you and his sex energy goes down. These are conditioned responses. We're like animals, you know, we have no control over our sexual desire. Okay. Well, what we can do is create settings for it to thrive or settings for it to go away very quickly.
That's such an important information. I'm sure my viewers will find it so helpful. It's incredible, and it's
Let me
all,
say one other thing
yeah.
that comes up. This is for women's self-esteem. So you had sex with this guy and he doesn't call you back. You start to think, what is it about me? What is it about me? It's not about you at all.
It's just,
It's not about you at all. It's about him. Because what he did is he released his sexual energy before he had a relationship with you. So there was nothing left to bond with because he wasn't bonded in his heart and his mind. See, sex energy. And so that's the idea of men get close and then they climax with you, or their estrogen goes up. Then their testosterone goes down and they need to pull away when their testosterone goes down. They pull back. And now when the testosterone comes back up, they're interested in you again. But if he ejaculates, he pulls so far away. He doesn't make prolactin. If he ejaculates without there being all this other bonding beforehand, he doesn't make the prolactin that allows him to come back to you. It will just go off to he'll be addicted to another woman and another woman. And so many men, all they're doing is just hunting women to have sex. And they don't know. They really don't know. We have to be sort of compassionate to them, that why they're wanting sex is to find love and they're looking for a relationship, but they don't know that. Women know that. You know that you want a relationship. That's the female wisdom. So you have to go slow, and he has to honor you. Otherwise, he's not worth you. But you have to, you want to approach it the right way, because there's a way you can unknowingly sabotage by just saying, no, I don't want to have sex right away. You have to go, oh, I love having sex. You turn me on. That's really exciting to me. I look forward to that, but I just can't do it right away. See, it's a different message.
Yeah, you kind of slowly tease him.
Yeah, that's right.
But it works. Yeah, that's amazing. And it's all of this in Beyond Mars and Venus book as well.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Also, for women to understand, a lot of women listening really haven't had orgasms, and your chances of having a modern man stay with you are low. You really need to. He needs to have that experience of providing that maximum fulfillment for you. And divorce is just so common today. Couples are just not getting together. Men are losing interest. Women are losing interest. If your group was 45 and older, where women's estrogen levels naturally lower, so many of those women are basically saying, I can't find a guy I'm in love with. Okay, because you can't fall in love. You can't be happy unless your estrogen levels are much higher than your testosterone levels. And here you are, the single woman, you're making lots of money, you're independent. What do you need a man for? And see, it's feeling I need someone that generates estrogen. And even if your body's not making the same amount of estrogen, it doesn't keep you from falling in love, as long as your testosterone production is not inhibiting your estrogen and your progesterone. And just simply, as when you go through menopause, you make very little progesterone, but you still can make your estrogen. And the problem is, if you make too much testosterone, the male dominates the female. So you need to have your feminine be your power.
Yeah.
And what is your power? Is your attractiveness. And it's not it's just your body that attracts. It's the love in your heart that attracts. You see, my success is that I have my male side. I work hard. I'm competent. I'm capable. But I also have to be attractive to draw people in.
Yeah.
That's feminine power, is I get people to do things for me. My male power is, look what I can do for you. Well, we
Yeah.
want both. But the
Yeah.
women got to come back to that female power, which is your happiness. Just know that the thing that makes you most attractive to a man is when he succeeds in doing things, saying things that truly generate a feeling of happiness and appreciation and trust inside of you. You feel like, I feel safe with him. And how do you do that in conversation? If he's trying to fix you, you basically say, oh, you don't have to say anything, really. I just need to share what I'm going through, and then I'll come back to feeling good. $1 million phrase: if you're in a relationship and you want to talk about a problem because somebody's stepping on your foot, you got to talk about it. Otherwise they'll keep stepping on your foot.
Yeah.
Minimize it. You say, now, this is not a big deal. I just want to say that when you do this, it brings up some feelings in me. And I know they're overreactions based upon the stress I'm feeling today, or I know they're based upon some of my issues from my childhood that I'm still working on. So it's not all about you. It's not a big deal, but I want you to know, when you don't call me for 3 weeks, I start feeling abandoned and I start doubting I care about you. So if you would call me more often, I'd appreciate it. I just took that as an example. Like, usually these little things in our relationships that annoy us and irritate us, and women have no problem sharing that. It just pushes a man down. The smaller the problem, if you get upset about it, the more a man will feel inside a resentment that you said that. That's these little complaints that women have throughout the day. You didn't do this. You should have done that. Why didn't you do this? It's okay to do it as long as you preface it, like, and don't do it all the time, but just say, this is not a big deal, but I want to remind you, you said this, and this is how I felt. And, I had this overreaction inside, and I'm sorry about that, but I do want you to know it does trigger me sometimes. Now, women say, why do I have to do that? Well, that's called loving. That's being nice. That's being friendly. That's being responsible. You mean I have to do that? Why is that so hard to do? It's like, if you've never seen people do it, it's hard to do. So I'm demonstrating it for you. That's what's called being loving. Not just being callous and insensitive or arguing and complaining and all the things couples do. We need to find another way. And finding that other way, sometimes women resent me. They say, oh, I have to walk up with, like on eggshells around him. I said, no, this is called loving someone. This is how you love them. And it's particularly intimate sexual relationships where we have to know these skills because we have no defenses. If you give me the death stare with disapproval because I forgot to do something, I don't have a defense other than that, other than the turn to stone, which is, the old story of Medusa. If you look at her, she's the witch with the snakes coming out of her head. They said if you cut down one complaint, 3 more come up. And if you look her in the eyes, she'll turn you to stone. Women don't realize they have this huge power to melt a man or turn him to ice. It's our stone.
It kind of reminds me a little bit, when I was a little girl and I wanted something from my dad. I was the sweetest, the nicest, the most positive, like even when you call, the voice tone just goes like, Daddy,
Yes, that little voice.
So,
you go right into that people pleaser. You go back to being like a little child.
And that's because you wouldn't get anything if you're negative, like, what I'm going to give you? Nothing. So
it's how to, as a woman, as a child, the more you don't get it, you have to put on that sweet little voice. And there's nothing wrong with that sweet little voice as long as you're not you're too dependent on that person. That's just a part of you. It's a sweetness, but it changes as you mature and you have a greater confidence that I don't have to win your approval. I don't have to win your acceptance. I deserve it. So it's a more mature accepting of that. And sometimes that voice comes up, no big deal if it comes up. When you see couples, when they fall in love, they all both have those voices. Oh, sweetie pie. Oh, lovey-dove. Oh, I love you. How much do I love you? You'll love me. That's this childlike part of us coming forth. And we don't want to like judge that, because the truth is, you know, as you interact with me, I'm a happy person because I'm in touch with that part of me. But that part of me is not feeling unworthy or needy or whatever, but it's the joyful part of us, like a little child. Okay. It's childlike, but not childish.
Yeah.
Okay. Childish would be demanding and throwing tantrums and being upset. And the reason I have so much joy in my life is when that tantrum part of me would come up, I didn't use it to change my partner by arguing with them. I took time on my own to listen to that part of me. That's my books. You know, I have lots of books on that. What You Feel You Can Heal, for example, is learning to heal the inner child, which is this part of us that acts out. If we allow that part of us to come forth to change someone, and that's what complaining is. You upset me, you know, I'm angry because you said this and this and this. Well, why am I saying I'm angry? You said this and this, because the emotion is manipulating you to listen to me. Or, oh, I feel so sad. You left me, you know, I missed you.
Yeah.
That feeling of sadness, oh my God, it does feel really good because it produces estrogen. That feels good, but it's a manipulation. I'm trying to get you to love me more. And now I'm using my sadness to get attention, because I'm getting attention. I'm getting affection from it. That becomes a loop. And now you're going to feel sad more and more. And you're going to look for disappointments to feel sad about. And that's some temperament. Some people will go into fear. I can't trust you. I knew it. I can't trust you. I knew it. I can't trust you. I have to do it myself. I can't trust you. I have to do it myself. They're afraid. You know, they using their, and they'll express, you know, I can't trust you as I'm afraid of you. That's the emotional translation. And that is just a manipulation to say, if you don't change, then I won't love you. So if you have negative emotions, primarily, you don't want to suppress them. That doesn't work. You don't want to express them. That doesn't work. What do? You feel them with the intention to transform them. Let them go by understanding them. You see, if you listen to a child be upset, their negativity will go away. They don't have to get their ice cream to feel happy. You want your ice cream? I understand. You're sad. You don't get ice cream. Yes, I will get my ice cream. I know. But one day you can't have your ice cream. No, I'll never get it. Well, I know you're afraid. You're never going to get ice cream. They're getting ice cream. Well, I know you're angry that they're getting it and you're not getting it. And it seems like that way. But we don't eat ice cream every day. And sweetheart, I love you. And soon we'll be able to have some ice cream. And the child feels fine again. No big change, nothing, just being understood, reassurance. We need to do that for ourselves, not expect our partners to do it. That's being a grown-up.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming here and sharing your wonderful tips. I'll have to rewatch it myself a few times because it's just been amazing. It's been really, really amazing. And I will link all the links to the Beyond More's book and to the course you're offering free on your website. Everything in my video description down below. And yeah, just thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been wonderful.
Well, I would love to take a moment to motivate people to go to that link, because this class I teach, how to get everything you want in your relationships, is a summary with quizzes and summary points and exercises. And there's 4 different ones. The one for single men, single women, if you're in a relationship and you're a woman, and you're in a relationship and you're a man. 4 different we do a survey to see, are you single or you're a couple? So you get your course. It comes to you over the next 4 days. You can take it as you wish. And it's not just me doing, it's also me and my daughter, Lauren. So you're getting both of us, and you're getting exposure to her with her many, many wonderful blogs for women and men, as well as mine. They're all at marsvenus.com, and it's all free. We welcome you to come join us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you and hearing all your knowledge. I can't wait actually to get that book myself. I didn't have the time to get it. I was like, I'll have to get you to talk about it. So because I didn't read it myself just yet, but yeah, I can't wait to read it because it sounds
She's referring to
amazing.
This
yes, it's this one right here.
Mars and Venus. It's from Mars, still a good book.
It's amazing book, yeah, but this is
the
the new
skills, to modern skills to
Well,
bring
we
us back
need
into
that.
balance, to
Mhm.
experience growing affection and attraction and passion.
Amazing. Amazing. Thank you so much. So my ladies, if you liked this video, please press like. Let me know in the comments below, what did you think? I will drop all the links to John Gray's website, the book, and also the free course, How to Get Everything You Want in Relationships for Women, Men, Couples, and Singles, down in my video description box below. If you would like to become a woman of high value and learn how to bring out the best in your man, join Greta's High Value Woman School. It's a free Facebook group and you are all very, very welcome. Follow me on my Instagram. My Instagram is called Ladies Relationship Coach. And for one-on-one group coaching or coaching with a member of my team, book me through my website, which is called ladiesrelationshipcoach.com. And if you would like to get my games package, how to stay attractive via text, emotional control, how to get an ex back, I will drop a link on how to get those video packages as a pinned comment under this video description box below. Thank you for watching, my queens. Kisses from Manchester. Mwah.